Hi guys, welcome back to yet another YouTube video where today we're going to be recreating shots from famous films. To help me do this, I'm going to be using a brand new website called ShotDeck. For anyone who doesn't know what it is, it's a website newly developed by the director of photography that did the Hangover series and Joker. His name is Lawrence Sher. Basically, ShotDeck is a website where you can go and look at loads of stills from loads of different films, and the search parameters are actually ridiculous. There are other websites that do the same sort of thing, but ShotDeck is the first sort of one where I think it's been done by someone inside the industry who knows what people are looking for in pre-production. You can make your own sort of decks to present to your directors or just for inspiration before you shoot. Currently it is in beta, but if you do sign up and tell them what you're doing, they give you an account, just like I got. So yeah, that's what we're going to be using for inspiration to aid today's video. So the 4 shots that I've picked to recreate for this week's video, we've got one from Scream, one from Gladiator, one from Reservoir Dogs, and finally one from the film The Master. So without any further ado, let's get straight into the first shot from Scream. Okay, so right now I'm on my phone. I've got the shot set up here. I've got my laptop over here for reference. I know we're missing a bit of the green in the background around there, but there's not really much we can do. I've got my softbox set up in the garden. Mum's absolutely freezing, aren't you, Mum? Yeah. Alrighty. I brought the white balance down to about 3.5K, just to make it look a little bit more blue. Using f3 ISO 1600. As you can tell, we've got that nice little shadow behind the nose there. I've got the softbox on the right. I didn't initially have it around the front, but the light was too soft, so I brought it around to the side to recreate this sort of shadow we've got going on the nose here, which I think works quite well. Just noticed, if you look at the hand around the phone there, in this shot it's much more clasped around rather than the way my mum's holding it, so it's going to make one tiny adjustment and we should be there. I think overall I'm actually really happy with the way that this shot came out. Obviously, I did say earlier, we are missing that green in the background. There's not really much I could do about that. The white values are a little bit different, and the color temperature of the light that they used for this particular shot was different to mine. But I think that in terms of perspective, composition, and the positioning of the character, I think I did pretty well. And overall, yeah, this is a pretty good one in my opinion. Moving on to the next shot from Gladiator. Unfortunately, I forgot to do any BTS for this one, so I'm just going to have to sit here and talk about it. The main thing that I really wanted to go for was to accentuate the shadows and make sure that the color temperature matched as best as possible. One of the biggest things that I thought would be important was the shadow behind the nose and under the eye. If you look at where I've done this shadow and where they've done it in the film, it's actually really accurate. So that's probably the best part of this one, I'd say. I don't think I got the positioning quite right. I think where I positioned my dad, he's a little bit too far to the middle of the composition, whereas the character from the Gladiator was obviously a bit further towards the right. But overall, it's pretty good. I'm quite happy with it. Moving on to the second to last shot of the day from Reservoir Dogs. Okay, so for this shot we have a shot of Michael Madsen from Reservoir Dogs. And there's quite a lot of light going on, so we've got light bouncing onto him from here, under as well, and then from the back that's coming over his shoulder and also on his ear. So this is what I've got set up. Hello, Dad. I've got my Godox SO150W set up as a top light because that's where the light's coming from. You can see it's coming down onto his forehead and cheek. I'm thinking it might need to be a bit lower though, because the highlight roll off, sorry, is it's not that harsh, so I might need to put that softbox on at least one layer of diffusion. But this is what, let's just turn focus beacon off. This is what we're looking like for this shot. The background is the hardest thing of this, because obviously this film was shot in a warehouse, and I'm shooting in a family home, so obviously it's quite different. And also my dad's sunglasses are a little bit see-through, so you can see on the actual shot from the film they're not see-through at all, whereas these ones create a shadow which is slightly distracting. Right, so I've made a couple of small adjustments. I've moved the glasses down his nose just a tad, just so you can see his eyes just a little bit, and just to make sure I'm getting that light over the shoulder, over the left hand side of his ear, I'm going to be using my dad's flash on his phone. This is very sort of crude, but you know, we're working what we got to sort of give him, if you can see this, come on, focus. You can see on the right hand side of his head I'm trying to nail that balance between his ear and his shoulder. Let's just turn off focus speaking quick so we can see on this screen here. I think, go for a take. Dad, turn your head to your right a bit. Okay. I think we're good to go. This is probably going to turn out the worst of all of them, but you know. Admittedly, I really don't think this one's that strong. The colour grade isn't that great, and I should have used a better quality light, because if you look at the right hand side of my dad's face, the colour quality of the light really wasn't great, and that's because I used a flash from my dad's phone, which obviously doesn't have that high of a CRI value, so the quality of the light and the colour reproduction really is quite nasty and sickly. Whereas obviously in Reservoir Dogs they had enough budget to have really nice lights. Also the background doesn't really match very well. The positioning of the character is pretty good, but other than that I don't think it really matches very well, but at least I tried it. But yeah, that's all I really had to say on that one. Not great. Moving on to the last shot of the day, the shot from the Master. Okay, so we're on the last shot of the day. This is the shot from the Master. Got it over here. Out of the way of the softbox. So it's basically just a dinner scene with a completely dark background. Philip Seymour Hoffman, I think his name is. Very famous actor, he's not alive now. But I think we pretty much nailed the production design, or set design, whatever you want to call it. So if you look at his handkerchief here, we've got, what's it called, a napkin, sorry. A little gravy boat, some bread, some wine, and basically what we've done is recreated the whole thing. We've got the handkerchief and the napkin, and Dad, the wine in the glasses, little bits of bread everywhere to try and make the perspectives look the same. So this is where we are at. Obviously the background is as dark. I'll try to see what I can do with that in post, but overall I think it looks really good. Like even down to these little bits of bread here. If you look at here on the left and then on the right, the perspectives and proportions, in my opinion, look pretty nice. I'm actually really happy with the way that this one played out. I think I got the perspectives and the set design really quite nailed actually. If you look at the position of the glasses and the way the bread looks, it just looks really accurate. Obviously the lighting was a bit different and the colour grade couldn't be as accurate as I wanted it to be because my dad's skin tone was very orange, and obviously the character from the Master, his skin tone is much more pink, which meant I couldn't exactly match the colour temperature of the tables. If you look at my shot and the shot from the Master, if you look at the white table parts, it's a little bit more orangey, so it needs to be a bit warmer. But if I made my shot any warmer, then it would have made my dad's face look ridiculously orange. So I did have to sort of compromise there a bit. But overall, I think it's quite accurate. The background, obviously, I couldn't get it completely silhouetted and completely dark, but I did my best. And yeah, overall I'm quite happy with this one. It's pretty cool. By the way, if you guys want to see more of these types of videos, please do tell me, because I actually had loads of fun recreating these shots from these films, and even give me shots from films that you want to see me recreate, because it's a ton of fun doing them and it keeps me busy during this quarantine. Moving on to the Q&A section, the first question asks, what drives you most to finish a project? Do you ever give up on a film / project midway? I'd say that if I ever give up on a project, I usually give up before I've even started it, because I find a reason in my head not to, which obviously sounds really bad, but I think most creatives do that as well. What drives me most to finish a project is if I've put time and effort into it, because I'd never want anything to go to waste. So if I spend loads of time on pre-production and sort of script development and putting together mood boards and sort of literal shot decks for the film, and it doesn't get made or there's potential for it to fall through, I'll do everything in my power to get it done, because it just sucks when a project falls apart and that potential story or great idea that might move someone or change the way they think doesn't get told. The next question says, what monitors do you use / recommend for editing? I personally use a 21:9 ultra widescreen monitor for all of my film and editing work, just because it's really great and it allows me to see the entire timeline at once, which is super useful. I've actually got it behind me here. If I just move out of the way, you can see here that it's ultra wide, which means you can see the entirety of your editing timeline, which is super useful. And then I just use my MacBook down there as a preview monitor for what I'm editing, which is super useful, and obviously super useful for color grading as well. I will drop the model name of that monitor down in the description. I don't use it for color work though, because it's not very color accurate. My Mac screen is more color accurate, so therefore I use that for color grading. But for general editing work and organizing stuff, that 21:9 ultra wide monitor is my go-to. The next question asks, do I own a gaming console? Yes, I own a PS4. I have had Xboxes in the past as well. I don't really use it that much. I use it for Netflix mostly. I used to play video games all the time, but since discovering film and photography, that's sort of taken over my life a bit. The next question asks, how am I finding the UK lockdown? To be honest, it's been a bit weird. Usually I don't spend that much time at home at all. For those of you who don't know, I live at home with my parents and my brothers, and usually I'm not home at all. I'm usually up working in London, or I'm at university in London, or I'm in a shoot in London. So it's a bit weird to be waking up and spending the entire day in the house, when usually my house only exists for me to come home and eat and sleep. Sort of dive back into YouTube and trying to make more content, and just trying to get by just staying creative really, and finding new ways to do things. The next and final question of the day asks, do you have a favourite sport? Which one, and how are you coping without it at the minute? Also, stay safe. Firstly, thank you very much. And also, my favourite sport is football. It's kind of weird not having it to watch. I've kind of just been rewatching highlight videos on YouTube, and basically all of the big football outlets like Sky Sports and things like that, they've just been posting highlights and sort of throwback moments. To get myself through it, I basically just play FIFA. That kind of helps. I did see a guy on Instagram who basically just chose two teams and just watched it for the fun of it, which is quite funny. But personally, I just play FIFA every now and then, and just watch highlight reels basically. It's kind of sad. Hopefully it's all over soon, but that's how I'm getting by without any football really. Okay, so that has been it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, I've been Harry.